Summary of the Emperor Jones by Eugene O'Neill. It's late afternoon in the throne room of the ruler, which is painted white. An old black native woman peeks her head around a doorway, and when she thinks it's safe, she starts to sneak across the room. Smithers, an old white sailor, stops her in the middle of the floor. When Smithers threatens her with a whip, the woman says that all the locals have run away to the hills. Smithers blows a whistle as the woman runs away. A few seconds later, the Emperor, Brutus Jones, walks into the throne room with a grumpy, sleepy look on his face. His outfit has a lot of decorations on it. Jones screams and says he will hurt the person who woke him up. Smithers gets Jones's attention, admits that he woke Jones up, and tells Jones that he has news. Jones sits on his chair and orders Smithers to tell him what's going on. Smithers asks Jones sarcastically where the court and servants are, but Jones just yawns and says they are drinking rum in town. Smithers should already know this, since he drinks a lot with the locals. When Smithers says that drinking is part of his job, Jones sneers. Smithers tells Jones in an angry way that he helped Jones when he first got to the island. Jones puts his hand on his gun and tells Smithers to behave himself. Jones says that Smithers is a completely different guy now, even though Smithers says he's sorry. Smithers responds that no one else would hire Jones if they knew he had been in jail in the US. Jones just looks at Smithers and says, "I know you've been in jail too." Jones says that he isn't acting as emperor for the fame, he just wants the natives' money. When Smithers says that the natives are out of money, Jones laughs and says that's not true because he's still ruler. Smithers asks Jones how often he breaks the law. Jones says that the emperor doesn't have to follow the rules because big stealing is what made him ruler in the first place. Smithers says that Jones really did trick the Indians and makes a comment about Jones's luck. Jones is upset, but Smithers says that Jones's story about the silver bullet was just luck. When Jones first came to the island, he got into a fight with one of the natives. When the man's gun jammed, Jones shot him and said that he could only be killed by silver bullets. Jones laughs at how stupid the people are because they bought it. Smithers asks Jones if the reports are true and he did have a silver bullet made. Jones says that they are and explains that he told the Indians that he would kill himself with it. Jones takes the bullet out of his pocket and tells Smithers that it's his lucky charm. Jones says that he will quit, take his money, and leave at the first sign of danger. Smithers asks Jones if he won't go back to the States, and Jones says he could, since he was never in jail there. Smithers doesn't believe the stories that Jones killed white men in the United States. He asks Jones about them. Jones says he is not afraid of being lynched. Jones also says that he will kill Smithers if he doesn't get his act together. Smithers tries to laugh, and Jones tells more of his story. He says he might have gone to jail for killing a black man who cheated him at dice, and then he might have killed a prison guard. He says that it's possible that none of this is true, but that Jones will kill Smithers if he tells anyone. Smithers looks scared, so Jones reminds him that they've always been friends, and then Smithers finally tells Jones what's going on. No one comes when Jones rings the bell to call his staff. Jones is furious. After a moment, he calms down and says that it's time for him to leave. Smithers warns Jones about Lem, the chief of the natives, because Lem doesn't like Jones. Smithers also tries to tell Jones about how scary the forest is, but Jones doesn't listen. He says that the Indians are stupid, that it will be easy for him to get away, and that if they catch him, he'll kill himself with his silver bullet. The castle can hear the sound of a tom-tom. Smithers says that the locals have started getting ready to cast magic. Jones says he is not afraid and tells Smithers that he is a good Baptist church member. Jones says goodbye to Smithers as he laughs. Jones gets to the edge of the forest as night falls. He wipes sweat off his forehead because the heat is too much. Jones hears the tom-tom and wonders if the Native Americans have started crossing the plain. Jones thinks it's time to eat to calm his nerves, and he looks around for his white stone. He finds it, but instead of food, there is nothing under it. Jones finds a lot of white stones, but but none of them have food under them. He's in the wrong place. Jones is upset, so he lights a match to make things clearer. The tom-tom beat gets faster, and Jones throws away the match. He decides that it was a bad idea to light it because it will give away his position. Jones turns around to look at the plane as the little formless spheres, which look like grubs and have glittering eyes, crawl out of the forest. Jones faces the bush and asks it if it is making fun of him. Jones jumps in fear when the shapeless spheres laugh back at him. He screams, pulls out his gun, and shoots at them. Jones listens to the tom-tom as they sneak into the forest. He tells himself that his fears were just pigs and pushes himself into the forest. A few hours later, the moonlight shines on an open area. Jeff, the black man Jones killed in the United States, sits on the ground and throws dice. Jones appears at the edge of the area and tries to make himself feel better. He keeps picking at his torn clothing. As Jones walks into the open, he hears the sound of dice being rolled. When he says that it sounds like dice, he does so in a scared way. He sees Jeff all of a sudden. Jones is stunned, and he talks to Jeff, worried about how Jeff got to the island. Jeff is asked if he is a ghost by Jones. Jones shoots Jeff when he doesn't answer. Jeff is gone when the smoke clears. Jones runs back into the bush as the tom-tom beat gets faster. Jones comes across a road just before midnight. Even more holes are in his clothing, and he yells that the heat is making him melt. Jones takes off his coat and throws it to the ground. Jones sits down and thinks about where the road came from. He has never seen it before, and he starts to worry that ghosts are around. Jones asks God to keep ghosts from appearing to him. While Jones looks at the moon, a white jail guard watches as a group of black prisoners walk on the road in silence. The chain gang starts working on the road when Jones sees it. The guard looks mad at Jones and tells him to join the other prisoners. Jones does what he's told as if he's in a dream. Jones doesn't have a shovel, but he moves like everyone else is shoveling, so the guard still gives him a whipping. Jones raises his arms over his head like he's holding a shovel to hit the guard over the head with. When he learns he doesn't have a shovel, he begs the other prisoners to give him one of theirs. Jones curses and pulls out a gun, shooting the guard in the back. As he does this, the trees in the chain gang disappear, the tom-tom gets faster, and Jones crashes into the woods. A few hours later, Jones comes to an open space with a tree stump in the middle. He gets down on his knees and asks Jesus to forgive him for killing Jeff and the jail guard and stealing from the natives. Jones looks at his worn-out shoes and decides that they hurt his feet even more. He takes them off and holds them in his lap as a group of white Southerners dressed in clothes from the 1850s enter the clearing in silence. They crowd around the stump as a servant brings in a group of slaves. Jones doesn't notice anything until the auctioneer gets everyone's attention, taps Jones on the shoulder, and tells him to stand on the stump. Jones jumps up to get away, and the auctioneer tells the group of planters about Jones's skills. Jones realizes he is being sold at a slave sale when the auctioneer starts taking bids. Jones is finally bought by a farmer, and the auctioneer shoves him toward the man. Jones pulls his gun out of anger and shoots both the seller and the person who bought the item. The clearing goes away, and the beat of the tom-tom gets faster. Jones leaves. Jones keeps walking for another 2 hours until he comes to a long, thin clearing with an arched roof made of vines. His clothes are so torn that he doesn't have much on but a loincloth. Jones cries out to God, asking what he's going to do now that he only has one silver bullet left. He decides he needs a break and throws himself to the ground. As the moonlight gets brighter, 2 rows of black guys in loincloths start to come into view. They sit on each side of the space and rock back and forth as if they were on a ship. They start to cry out in a regular way, and Jones hears them. Jones lifts his voice to join theirs, even though he is trying to ignore them. Jones keeps running fast through the forest as the sounds fade away. Jones walks into another area by a river early in the morning, still crying. He moves as if in a dream and kneels down next to a pile of rocks that looks like an altar. Jones asks God to keep him safe as a Congo witch doctor jumps out from behind a tree. Jones is amazed as the witch doctor starts to dance and sing to the beat of the tom-tom. The doctor dances a story about being chased by devils, and as the stress builds, Jones starts chanting and beating the ground in time. When the witch doctor suddenly moves toward Jones, Jones knows that he is going to be sacrificed. The witch doctor calls a crocodile god from the river. Jones is being watched by the crocodile as the witch doctor moves for Jones to go near it. Jones screams, grabs his gun, and shoots the crocodile with a silver bullet as the tom-tom gets louder and louder. The snake goes back into the river, and the witch doctor goes away, but Jones just lies on his back and cries. At dawn, Lem, his men, and Smithers walk from the meadow to the edge of the forest. One of the soldiers finds where Jones went into the forest. Smithers is angry, but Lem tells him in a cool voice that they will catch Jones. Smithers keeps making fun of the natives, and Lem keeps telling him the same thing. Lem sends troops into the forest when they hear twigs breaking. Smithers thinks the snapping might be Jones, and gunshots can be heard coming from the woods. Lem gives Smithers a smile and tells him that Jones is dead. He says that he and his men spent the night making charms and silver guns by melting down their money. When Smithers finds out that the natives really believe Jones's claim that he can only be killed by silver shots, he laughs and calls Lem crazy. Soldiers come out of the woods with the dead body of Jones. Smithers makes fun of Jones's dead body and makes fun of the Indians who are carrying Jones away.
About the author. Eugene Oneill was born to Irish refugees in a hotel in New York City. Oneill went to a Catholic boarding school because both of his parents toured with a theater group. His father was a drunkard, and his mother was hooked on morphine. This situation in his family affected the plays he wrote later. As a young man, he started working on ships and joined U.S. labor groups and movements. He got tuberculosis when he was in his early 20s, and after that he chose to write full-time. In 1920, Beyond the Horizon, his first play, opened, and in the fall of that year, The Emperor Jones made its debut. Jones was his first big hit, and it showed what Oneill thought about the occupation of Haiti by the U.S. Oneill had 3 children from his 3 marriages. After being depressed and drinking too much for most of his life, O'Neill's hands started shaking in 1943. This made it hard for him to write for the last 10 years of his life. He died in a hotel room in Boston. He advised his third wife to wait 25 years to publish Long Day's Journey into Night, which Oneill wrote in 1941-42, but she published it in 1956 and won a Tony Award for Best Play.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.